wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra. Fuck with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than just fly on it. Stand on that hill, you gon' die on it. Boom, boom. Baby, I'm not one of them, you should try on it. Miss me with all that, I'm on it and next. Fuck this up, I send you back to your ex. But good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Oh shit, they don't let me shoot a whole clip. Firepower in this coalition. We just turned the field into a demolition. It was desolate, but I had premonition. I was training for war, every exhibition, every extra mission, every enemy listening. Get off my dick, I got bad intentions. Make it right every wrong, and I'm back with a vengeance. I show you the ropes. Peace in my town, I can show you the coast. Up in the shots if they wanted to smoke. If you know, then you know. Suited up, bitch, my whole team do the same. Don't you forget who created the game. Ready for war, I was born with grenades. The trenches where soldiers are made. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.
Welcome to the last call, where we try to clear up many of the misinformation concerning the drone community.
Hey everyone, this is Dre, Recoveryonedrones. Let me first apologize for last night's fiasco. Lost some power on my device that I had to do an update prior to the show, and hopefully we'll get it all organized today. Hopefully we won't have any glitches. So I want to thank everyone who was here, who decided to come back, and those who may not just here for the first time. I want to thank you for showing up also. We're going to change up the lineup a little bit so I don't bore people who were here for the first 20 minutes last night. So we'll kind of pick up in reverse order a little bit, and that way if someone watches this as a restream or whenever at their leisure, they will be able to not feel like they're getting a repeat of 100% of everything. Today I have a lot of time on my hands. Excuse me, I'm not pinched between two different shows, so a little more relaxed format. Not going to be in a hurry, be able to explain some things in a little more detail. If you have questions in the chat, please send them through. I'm watching the YouTube chat on my screen so I can see any questions that pop up. So I'll be able to address anything from that perspective. Those of you that may be on Facebook, I'm not able to follow both chats. I don't have another device that's on Facebook right now, so I apologize if you're asking questions through Facebook. I'm not able to see them. But we are on YouTube under Recoveryonedrone if you're so inclined to come join us. I appreciate it. So once again, today's show is basically about a video I put up about a week or two ago concerning terrain following. And I am one who does read the comments and try to address any of the comments that are made on my videos, regardless if it's a short or it's a long video, whatever, because I try to provide information. You know, a lot of times when I do shorts, it's there as I use my shorts like a commercial, just enough to get your attention and bring you to a longer format video or to the live stream like today. That's what we're looking at. So we're going to start off right the bat with terrain following. Terrain following is not a brand new technology. It was first put in place back in the late 60s during the Vietnam War era, primarily for helicopter pilots and other low-flying aircraft. It was able to make a lot of difference in close air ground support for troops on the ground. But now, I think starting back in, I want to say 2017, this type of technology has made its way into drones. Good morning, Paul. Yeah, I'm doing a restream of last night's fiasco, so I want to make sure I get this because I put this on my podcast list. And I want to make sure anybody who wants to follow this information down the road gets a complete, solid video of all the information. So I was saying that terrain following came into the drone industry somewhere around 2017. And it goes back as far as Phantom 4 version 1, I believe, is one that can be used in terrain. And I know because I've used it in terrain following. Phantom 2, the Mavic 2 Pro, and several other drones going forward. As long as the drone has complete sensors, you don't have to have 360 sensors, but at least front and back are essential. And you know, most of all drones have the barometer or LiDAR sensor in the bottom. These are the three areas of sensors that are used on a drone to help it complete a terrain following mode feature. Right off the back, before I get into more details, there are several programs that some of you may be familiar with that have the terrain following feature built into them. The first one is one I've used is Drone Deploy. I have used Drone Deploy terrain following mode doing a linear flight. And those who may not know what linear flights are, basically linear flight, just like it sounds in the name, is basically a straight line flight. Is primarily used in doing telephone pole work or road surveying work, and what you use your linear flights for. And like I tell a lot of people, when we drive around, whatever you go in places, the ground, in other words, the earth is not flat. Okay, we'll put that out there. The earth is not flat itself. So quite often you will have elevation changes when you're out there flying. And this is where, how you doing, cool cat? And this is where terrain following can be a big asset to you to assist in your accuracy and better building of an orthomosaic mapping of whatever you're flying. If it be a grid pattern or a linear flight, like I say, a lot of these programs like Drone Deploy, Pix 4D Capture, Drone Link, Litchi, and the DJI Pilot 1 and 2 uh, are able to activate or use terrain following. They both have it built into the software, so it's they're available to you. You can also use terrain following not just in what I do is doing orthomosaics or mapping. Terrain following can also assist you in your everyday flights for you guys who are hobbyists who just want to get a nice flight with drone going uphill or either downhill and a consistent level flight. You can set, I believe the new term they have it now is auto direction or something like that, basically auto drive, something like that, where you can pick two waypoints from where you start and where you want to finish, and you can, in conjunction with that, you can have it do terrain following. So what happens is the drone maintains the same height no matter if the terrain falls away or comes up, rises up. The drone will continue to adjust its flight path to match the terrain itself. Now, talking about the terrain changes, I have found it that terrain following is best used when you have elevation changes of about 50 feet or greater. You're not going to get much of a difference or see a difference when you have small changes of 10 feet, 20 feet, but usually 50 feet and above, you'll start to see the difference, especially when it comes to doing photogrammetry work / mapping. I have 3 sites that I do on a monthly basis to where I use terrain following because of the difference in the terrain itself. I have one site that has about 100 feet difference elevation. I have another site that has about 200 feet difference elevation from the highest point to the lowest point. So these are things that cause you to be able to create more accurate map, more consistent maps, and safety. And that's always the key thing, is the safety aspect of your mapping. Okay? And the reason why I bring up safety, because a lot of times we go out flying and we can't always pre-see or be able to accommodate all the things that are out there when we're out there flying. Just like the one site that I posted in the video a couple weeks ago, it had the high tension poles out there. So it also benefited me that when I had terrain following, not that the drone was just following terrain, but it also looks at the obstacles that it may need to fly above. And that's why I say that you need to have front, rear, and bottom sensors to assist you in what you're doing. So that's also key, that it also keeps your drone from crashing into something. Now, we all know the sensors don't pick up wires very well, never have, never will, because of just the small size, and they blend into the background. So it's hard for sensors to pick them up. But if it picks up the structure that it's attached to, it will be able to compensate its route so the drone doesn't crash into the wires or the actual frame of a high tension pole. Or if it's a large tree that is fully bloomed or something like that, it will fly above. And that's what I'm saying about it being consistent, because as the ground rises up or structures come into play, the drone adjusts itself. So it helps you be a better, safer operation overall. Now, get into the weeds of this a little bit. I'll be first to say I'm not on the level of a Dylan Gorman. If you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of terrain following, I would advise you to go see that gentleman's videos. He's been in the game, especially commercial operations, for almost a decade now. I watched a lot of his videos as far as terrain following, LiDAR, and be a better operator in producing better orthomosaic maps overall. Hey, Barkley, thanks for coming in. And like I said, the thing you're going to hear about mostly, if you're doing this on a commercial aspect, is the term GSD. And GSD stands for ground sampling distance. And that's why I say you got to have that bottom sensor on the drone that you're using to be able to get the GSD. And that's going to be essential. And this way you want to have consistent ground sampling distance overall. When you do mapping work in all the different little parameters that you have, you can set the ground sampling distance at a certain level. You always see that term about 1 centimeter accuracy or better type of things. Well, that's where your ground sampling distance comes into play. And that's why I tell people, depending upon the drone, depending upon how fast you're flying, depending upon how good the camera is, how good or how accurate you want the map to be, can all be determined on the ground sampling distance. Now, usually a lot of the flights I do are at a level of 400 feet. So using terrain following mode, even though my max limit is 400 feet, that drone may actually fly above 400 feet for where it took off at, but at the ground of where it's flying at, it may register on my controller that it may be 450. I've even had to go as high as almost close to 600, but the actual ground that it's flying over is still no more than 400. Now, I know before the previous update on the Maverick 3 Enterprise series drones, we used to get a little box in the lower right hand corner that would tell us exactly where the drone was at any given time when you would use terrain following mode. During the last update, they replaced that little box and put the sensor cameras there, and they're there all the time, no matter what mode. If you're in regular flight path mode, or if you're flying in terrain awareness mode or terrain following mode, that you can't get that little other icon, which is more of a benefit to me as a commercial operator than me be able to see these low-level sensor cameras, because I have yet to see where they come into play, where they assist me or aid me in any fashion or form. So I think that was just more of a gimmick that was brought in off of the consumer level Maverick 3 drones, and they brought it up to the enterprise level. But I can say, to me, if it doesn't add to the operation, doesn't add to the safety aspect of the flight, it's kind of useless in my opinion. But who knows? I don't know everything and don't pretend to know everything, so maybe somebody can teach me something about why these sensors with these camera outlooks are beneficial to flight, because I know the quality of it's black and white, and the quality of it is not up to the level to where I would see something in advance before the drone would hit it. So I don't get it for the most part. But let us continue on. And we talk about some of the advantage of terrain follow. Efficiency. Like I said before, the efficiency, the drone flies a consistent pattern. It flies at consistent altitude, no matter what the terrain is doing below it. Safety, which I've already talked about. It helps avoid obstacles and ensures a smooth flight plan, I should say. Here it says, this is a more up-to-date information I got off of a site, and it talks about how to use terrain following with DJI drones. DJI Pilot 2 app, this flight software is used by DJI Matrice 300, Matrice 350, and DJI Maverick 3 Enterprise. And like I said, it actually works with other third-party software with Drone Deploy, Pix4D, DroneLink, Litchi, and so forth. So you can use older drones as long as they have the appropriate sensors on those drones to be able to use the terrain following features for the most part. So like I said, you can be out there just having fun, and you want to get a nice unique shot of you're out there hiking in the hills or something like that, and you might want to have a drone. You can fly it down to a point below you, and want the drone to come up to where you're at. You set that waypoint from point A to point B, and then you put a terrain following, and that drone will fly on that trajectory, maintain its flight. Now you have to at least have it, I think the minimum lowest it can fly, and use that software, I believe, is 10 to 15 feet. It will maintain that, and then you can go as high as you want to go. But it needs to have at least 10 to 15 feet above ground to start with, and it will fly the route that you have placed in it for the waypoints. So that can give you a nice feature, a nice cinematic feature if you want to use it for whatever it is, making videos. It's a nice effect. I always say you look at what is done in commercials or what they've done in movies, and you got to ask yourself, well, how do they get that? How are they able to get that ability to get the camera to move in that direction? And I always tell folks, a lot of times, if you just think about it, and your drones are very capable of doing a lot of things, but you know, you got to be able to think on that same level. I always tell people the main thing that helped me determine how I can fly a drone was my old days as a heavy equipment operator. Learn to operate a backhoe. If you ever had the experience to see a backhoe operate, or I see a backhoe operator, it's almost like working in 3D. You have the two hand controls, and you get 2 feet controls. And I say that backhoe operates just like your hand does. It can go scoop forward, it can scoop backwards, it can articulate different directions. So basically, you can have that thing work in a 3D method, just like you can do your drones. And that's why I always tell people, when you're out flying your drones, practice manipulating not just the left and right stick, but also learn to use that index finger, if you're not a pincher, to manipulate the gimbal at the same time. And that's what I did with a video I did about a week ago, the railroad yard that I monitor for the last 5 years now, of doing the smokestack climb, where I was orbiting the drone slowly around it, and doing an orbit and ascending at the same time. So I'm doing a two-dimensional move with the sticks, and as I got to the top of the smokestack, I manipulate the gimbal. As I'm rising above it, the gimbal's pointing down. So everything stays in one smooth motion, keeping the smokestack in line at the same time and moving the gimbal. So now I'm doing a 3D movement. I'm going from right to left, and I'm going up, and now I'm tilting the gimbal down. And that's what I tell people about, you know, when I'm out there flying, people ask me, when do you fly for fun or whatever? And I always tell folks, I don't really fly for fun. I fly to practice. I fly to practice my maneuvers. I fly to practice, increase my skill set. And that's why I say, if I'm out here taking pictures of one thing, and I say, okay, let me go try do this, and then I'll make that maneuver. Okay, and that's what I'm saying about being able to increase your skill set and trying something different. And that's why I have to admire a lot of the FPV pilots out there, and how they're able to manipulate the drone, even though they're only using 2-stick movements, but how they're able to use the acceleration of the drone and the lift of the drone to do certain movements. Now, I know most of the FPV, if you're traditional FPV, you have a cameras that's attached to the frame itself, which means you don't have gimbal control. But those of you who have the Avadas out there, it has gimbal control, if I'm not mistaken, where that camera can be adjusted. And that's why I encourage people, when you're out there, I know it's one thing to learn to master or get pretty good at operating the sticks on those Avadas, but also to encourage folks, you can do so much more and get so much more cinematic results by able to manipulate the gimbal at the same time. So that's one of the key factors. So let me digress back to terrain following. I got off on a tangent now. So let me just wrap this up. I know there are certain people that are asking about this. It's been around for a while. It ensures a more efficient mapping process. It's also an additional safety feature that help you prevent you from flying into objects, because it's going to adjust its elevation wherever it goes, as long as the sensors can pick up the obstacles. So like I say, nothing's going to be 100% foolproof. As we all know, those of us who have had crashes and stuff, that nothing is 100% foolproof. You're still responsible as the pilot in command of what your drone is doing at all times. And it's also your responsibility to know what the hazards are wherever you fly. If it's in an open field or you're in an urban environment or wherever the case you may be, it is still your responsibility to make sure you know what the hazards are. Because these are questions that will be asked in case of if something happens. All right. Now, I'm going to jump around a little bit here. I did pick up a sponsor when I was down in San Diego last in April. And that was one of the not the main reason I went down there, but I went down to San Diego to meet and greet with people that I've seen on YouTube. I did meet the guy from Steel City Drones. I got to see Vic Moss in person. I got to see John McBride in person, interviewed him, and got to see quite a few other folks that that are out here advertising to us, and be able to speak to them on a face-to-face basis. And I appreciate that. Those who allowed me to interview them, there were some who could not be allowed to be filmed because of their own company policies and so forth. But I was fortunate enough to strike up a sponsorship from the folks at Air Data. They have been happy with what I had to say to them. They looked me up right there on the spot and saw the number of flights I had under my belt with the safety badge, I call it. They call it their safety badge, and go from there. Now, you guys know me when we talk about maintenance and everything else. I know some folks are old school traditional by writing down things, but I tell you, this Air Data can make a big difference in not only just logging your flights, but also the maintenance of your flights. Where, like I say, information you can't get by writing a logbook yourself, Air Data can provide you with information about your batteries. It gives you information about when the drone should have a, as we would call it, according to vehicles, like a little tune-up type of situation where you need to check your props, you need to check your frame. And that's all based upon how many hours of flight time that you have on the bird itself. So here is my information on Air Data.
This call is sponsored by Air Data, world's most trusted flight data platform. Use promo code Recoveryonedrone20 for 20% discount on your subscription.
All right, so I am now sponsored by Air Data for this show, the last call. And I said, I don't know if I'll be putting them on all my videos, but I know it will be on this show whenever I present it, that this will be part of it each week. Once again, I have the promo code at the top of the page. This promo code, no matter if you pay month to month or you pay yearly like I do, you can do it right now even though you already have a subscription, or if you're new, you will get 20% off using promo code Recoveryonedrone20. You enter that in the appropriate space and you'll get a 20% discount on your monthly or on your yearly amount that you pay. And this is something they gave to me as part of their sponsorship of my program. So I'm able to pass it on to you as part of the drone community. So once again, that promo code is Recoveryonedrone20, and that'll give you a 20% discount on Air Data. So I can always tell folks sometimes you can't pass up a good deal when it's there in front of you. So I encourage you to go. You don't have, other than the promo code itself, you don't have to say anything about me as an individual. And I'm pretty sure I have plenty of detractors that say other things about me. But that was one of the benefits of going to the Exponential show 2024 down in San Diego, California. Put a wrap on that. It was the first large size show that I have been to, and I was, like I said, I was able to meet people from the industry, talk to different vendors in the industry, and get a better idea of what's going on. I know there were some people who were not happy about the video I did because they felt I was directly just supporting the AUVSI or whatever it is they go by because of their connection to I should say individuals within that brand are connected to a lot of the anti-Chinese drone bill that has been floating around. I think if you go over to Russ of 51 Drone, he's naming people, okay, and he's showing you how these people have gone from one company to another company, and they are directly involved with these legislators in trying to craft these bills that are directly going after Chinese-made drones. You know, everybody wants to say DJI because DJI is king of the hill. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They are king of the hill, okay? And they're the ones who keep pushing the envelope. And talking about pushing the envelope, DJI just came out with a new matrice level camera system, HT30, which now boasts of almost 4 times the amount of thermal imagery that used to be the baseline. And this is what we talk about DJI drones being the best bang for the buck out there, is that they're, right now, from the Mavic Enterprise Advance, which I own, through up to the HT20, they all have the same thermal specs. They all give you the same results, and that means not just DJI. We're talking about Autel, we're talking about Skydio and everything else. Everybody's using the 645-12 specs for thermal drones. Okay, DJI just came out with a high definition one, 1080p. Okay, thermal drone in 1080p. So right there, DJI is once again stepping forward, raising the bar. And as we always say, through the gauntlet down, everybody else says, catch me if you can. And that's what we always say. I would love to be able to buy an American-made drone from an American company. But I'm not going to spend money on a drone that does not even match what the competition is putting out already. If you're not even at the standards, we talk about the Anafi drone, which is a French-made drone, but it flies under American name as the Anafi UAS Parrot, whatever it is, and it doesn't even have the 645-12 thermal camera. The Skydio X10 is at that level, but it costs twice as much. So once again, you got to look at, if you're like me, if you're trying to run a business, you have to think like a business, just like everybody else is in business. Okay, I'm trying to get the best bang for my buck, so I want to be a patriot and be a supporter of my American companies, but I cannot, in good thought process and good faith, spend twice as much money than what I can get the same product for from somebody else. That's not being a smart business decision from my standpoint. It's not a good business decision from anybody's standpoint. We don't go out and buy cars like that. We go out and spend twice as much money on a Ford, Chevy, or a Chrysler, when we can go out and get a Honda, or go get a Toyota, or go get whatever else, a Hyundai, and whatever else, and get the same features. Our money is our money, and we got to have a chance to spend it the way we want to spend it, and do it in the most appropriate way. So that's what I'm saying as far as what's going on here. But like I say, you go over to Russ of 51 Drones. He is naming people who work behind the scenes for New York Congressperson Stefanik. The guy who worked on her staff is now works for Skydio. The guy from Exponential also came from, I guess he came from Skydio, and now he runs the Exponential shows. So these people have their own agendas, and like I said, they're trying to make a niche for themselves to be the more dominant persons in the industry. Now, I also say, if those you follow Pilot Institute, Greg over at Pilot Institute, He usually does a news show on Friday mornings, early Friday mornings, usually like 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know it's about maybe 9 or 10 on the East Coast, and I encourage you to watch that show. He is definitely staying on top of these things as far as what's going on. So I can always tell folks, stay in the know. Stay in get the information. I don't have to say you need to side. Whatever side you want to be on is up to you. But all I ask you to do is stay informed. Stay informed of what's going on. Try to stay informed of who's driving the ship on these situations, so we know what we're doing. And on that note, we're going to go over to the next point of Drone Advocacy Alliance. Their organization that is taking up the mantle. They represent quite a few of the drone industries that are out there. DJI being one of the main players. Oddtails on their thing. A lot of other companies, especially resellers, are on their website and so forth. This is where people have been trying to tell you to go, where you can get the direct email addresses of your local officials. That's not just Congress people, but also state senators, to send them information on your position on these bills that are coming through. The most recent one is the First Responder Act, which I think is a travesty in the name of itself, and how they dare, try to say it, make it seem like it's doing first responders a favor when they're actually hurting first responders. So, and I ask you, if you have any personal words you want to say, there's a box for you to put as much of your story in there also, and it will go to them. And I will show you here. This is a generic response I got from my state senator, Alex Padilla, and I said, and I tell you, you may get something a little more elaborate, but as long as you're getting something back, at least you know somebody on their staff received the email, and it even says here that maybe somebody will look at it. But also what it tells me is that there's been enough emails sent through already that Stefanik's people have taken notice, because now Congressperson Stefanik out of New York is asking the DOJ to look into Drone Advocacy Alliance and wonder if DJI needs to register as a foreign agent, because they're trying to influence, even though they may not have any direct connection to a representative, but they feel through this email program that has been going on that we're having an impact. Some way or another, we're having an impact. So they're trying to push the DOJ to investigate Drone Advocacy Alliance to see if they are violating lobbying rules within the U.S. So even though it's a U.S. based nonprofit organization, but it represents a lot of the foreign businesses, but also represents a lot of resellers here in the United States, like Drone Nerds, Adventure, and some other people who sell enterprise level drones, and even consumer law. I think Drone Nerds covers everything, consumers up to commercial level. So once again, I will put that up there for you guys. Let me see if I can find it here. We'll take that down and scroll across the top of my screen here, showing you the web address that they have, and go from there. So you'll be able to see that. Take it down. I'll keep that scrolling for a while so you get a chance to see it and be able to go there. Like I said, all I can do is encourage you to go send information to them. I'm not going to sit and tell you what you need to say. You need to say what's best for you. Okay. All I always say is get the information. That's what's key. Is get the information is what's vital to anything else. Anything what you do in life is get the information. Then the decisions you make are always going to be your decisions. But you can't say someone told you to do this or someone tricked you to doing this is based upon how you feel and what you want to do and what you need to do for you in the long part. Okay, so we'll move on to the last part of this. I know I have been a little bit MIA in the last several weeks from a couple of live shows that I visit, but I always tell folks, even though you don't see me in the chat, whatever the case may be, I'm always listening. A lot of times I'll have you guys on while I'm at work, because a lot of you guys are on the East Coast, so you come on when I'm still at work or when I first get home. So I'm always listening, trying to pay attention to what's going on. I'm not trying to avoid anybody or anything, but like I say, I'm trying to grow something here for me, and that growth and that effort that I've been putting in, evidently, I say it's kind of paying off in a way. And even though I've been approached by a couple individuals to do telecom work, but doing telecom work requires you to travel, and I'm not in that position yet to travel away from my regular job at any time that I'm needed. So, and I wasn't even thinking about this direction I'm about to tell you about, but evidently I got a text message from one of my clients, invited me to come to a Zoom call. And the Zoom call took place last Thursday, and there's about 6 of us in the call. And then at that point, we were all invited or given an opportunity to join the survey team of this company, which kind of floored me. I had an idea it was coming pretty quickly, but I didn't know it might be on this level. The parameters of this is what I like the most. I will still be able to work in the same realm that I'm working now, which primarily, I say I'm a part-time operator. I work, like I say, 9 to 5 job, Monday through Friday, every other Friday. So most of my drone work that I do for myself is done on the weekends. Now, unless I fly something for the city that I work for, everything else is done on weekends. And I want to see if I can show you guys. I don't know if it's going to show up here. That right there, you can't see it directly, is my monthly map. Now, you can't see the dates in front, but from Fridays through Sundays, I say Fridays and Saturdays, almost every weekend is filled in and stuff. So that is how my life goes right now, that I'm pretty much booked on weekends. And like I said, I do this show. That's why I only do this show once a month, usually on Sunday nights. And forgive me again for the failures of last night, but like I said, we'll get it right and be better prepared in the future. But so doing this survey work that I'll be doing, I'll be working under a licensed surveyor, because I'm not a surveyor myself. But they told me I was invited because of my prior knowledge and qualifications. And they didn't invite me because I'm just an awesome drone pilot, but it was because of my qualifications and experience in the construction industry that I was invited to this meeting. And that's why I always try to advocate to people, if you want to get into commercial work, there may be some things that have nothing to do with drone flying that you may need to acquire. And I always tell people, for myself, because of the position I hold within the city I work for, I have an OSHA 30, which is basically a supervisor level drone. Okay, and that's one of the key things. I would recommend to people OSHA 10. It's a 10-hour course. OSHA 30 was a 30-hour course. Okay, OSHA 10 is the basic. If you plan on trying to work in the construction industry, a lot of times for you to be because what you're gonna be a contractor on a job site. Okay, that means you have to follow the same rules as the electricians, the carpenters, the drywall guys, all this kind of stuff. A lot of these guys either have to be under someone who has a higher level OSHA coverage, or each individual may have to have at least an OSHA 10 to be on that job site. So that's what I'm saying, that getting certain additional qualifications really makes the difference of your professional level in the industry. Just like if you're a person who goes out and flies real estate, residential real estate, it may be beneficial if you go out and get whatever your local state or whatever it is that can certify you as an actual home inspector. Okay, has nothing to do with drone flying, has nothing to do with how great you take pictures, but now you have an added credential that adds value to what your work is. Because now you're looking at, not only are you just taking pictures to help sell a home, but now you can double dip and say, okay, when whoever wants to sell it or buy it, because somebody has to do a pre-inspection on the home. So guess who may they might want to call? The guy they already got on speed dial for the photographs. Now he can use that same drone to do inspections for the roof, for the facade, and then you do your walk arounds, inside, outside, boom. So like I said, you're double dipping. And that's what I'm looking at here as being part of a survey team, that I will be double dipping on these locations. Because as I go out and set the ground control points, which is part of doing photogrammetry mapping work, now I'm setting those points, and now I will be eventually flying them too. So I'm double dipping my efforts. So you paying me to go out there and set ground control points, and now you're going to pay me again to go out and fly it. Paul, I'm using the Yellow Box Ultra. That's what I use to stream with. That's why I said that's what lost power yesterday. I had a big update for it, and when I got on the air last night, I only had about 15% left, and that was part of my fault. I should have updated earlier and didn't do it. But they always tell you, when you update, you got to go back and reset a lot of stuff, and that caused me to lose power last night because I didn't have enough power to go through the whole show. So that's why I'm restreaming today. But I use the Yellow Box Ultra, which allows you to stream in 4K. But like I say, and like Coolcat, that's the whole thing. I'm expanding my abilities is what I'm doing. And like I say, once I start doing this survey work, I'm not exclusively tied to this company. This is something I can add to my resume and offer my services out to someone else if they need someone to help do survey work. Like I said, I'm not a surveyor, so I can't sign off any documents. I cannot attest to any accuracies of information. And that's why I tell people all the time, you have to be careful what you offer people out there, because of the fact that you can be held liable for what you do, especially if you're stating on your advertisement, your business card, or whatever on your web page that you're offering survey attestments. I would say, I don't want to say we can do survey grade work. And also I tell people, I said, you can do, collecting the data is one part of it. Attesting to the data is a whole nother part. And attesting to the data that was collected is where you need to be a certified surveyor or a principal engineer. Those are the only two people who are authorized to sign off on those documents in probably out of the 50 states, I would say at least 47 states. You need to be a licensed or a surveyor or principal engineer to sign off on value metrics, to sign off on distance, sign off on any type of thing that has to do with mapping. And that's why I tell things about, do you know how to read plans, basic plans, all this kind of stuff. These things have nothing to do with flying a drone, but it adds value to you as a drone operator. And that's why I talk about being able to speak the language of the people that you're involved with, speak the language of developers, speak the language of engineers, speak the language of site foremen. When I talk about some of the videos you see me late showing me putting my RTK station on known points, okay? I saw a lot of videos when guys were talking about using these RTK systems and they just jump out the truck or whatever and set the base station up. Technically, yes, the base station will make a point of its own, but how accurate would it be when it's not off of a known point set by a surveyor? Everything that we have from our streets, roads, sewers, gas lines, any building that has been uprighted, sidewalks put in place, are all referenced off of known surveyor points. And back in my day as a paver, when I first got into construction, it was always the old saying that if the curb line is not right, the street's not going to be right. And that's why you see curbs being set before they pave the road, not the other way around. The curb line has to be put in first for the street to be put in. Okay, so that's why we have those kind of situations there. So I'm saying having knowledge or experience or even certifications. Like I said, I have certifications in FEMA. I have certifications as a erosion control inspector, and those certifications are nationwide. My erosion control certification, nationwide, and about a dozen or so small islands in the South Pacific. That's where that credential takes me and stuff. My OSHA 30, I can walk on any job site, and if I want to leave the city today, I could probably get a job as a safety officer on any large job site in America. There's other new things that are coming up now. And I tell you, a lot of certification stuff, it's all about a money deal. I have to pay $100 every year to renew my certification. It costs me almost $1,000 to get the certification because I had to go to a 2-day class, which cost about $600 something odd dollars. Take the test. I had to pay to take the test. So I said it came out to about $1,000 to get the certification. Did it make me the best guy or a better guy? No. And stuff. Experience is always the best teacher in my book. You know, I tell people, yeah, I went to college, got a degree, but it didn't make me not much smarter. It just taught me how to be a better researcher. So, like I say, there's a lot of things that you want to add to your back pocket, as I say, your arsenal, to help you get more work out there in the industry. And like I say, it's one of the best ways to get your foot in the door. Because like I say, when showing people your videos or your pictures, I would always say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know, you're trying to sell something to somebody else who may not have a clue of what you did, but they cannot deny the fact that you have the qualifications to work in the industry from the time you step on the as we say, step on the field. So that's about it. Like I said, I want to really make up for last night. As always, I want to encourage everyone to fly safely, fly within the rules, and look out for one another. You know, I don't know if it's from the issues of what's going on as far as these bills or whatever. And like I did last month, I'm seeing a lot of division within the community, which we need to stop. And I'm even guilty of it at times. But I try to always catch myself, and I'm first to apologize. I at least try to be the first to apologize if I offended someone or made someone feel less than by my comments. I always try to help folks, and the best way I always try to help folks is help you help yourself. You know, I always tell folks, for the effort you took to get on a Facebook page or a group or whatever and ask this question, I ask, did you Google this first? A lot of times you'll get the answer without jumping into some group and getting ridiculed or getting your feelings hurt, and you can teach yourself. That's one of my favorite ways to try and do things. Just look it up for myself, because also we have found out that there is so much misinformation out there that when you go into a Facebook group or wherever else you may go to, you may get any number of responses that'll make you even worse off than what you started and everything. So, like I said before, Appreciate you guys for coming in here today. Like I say, I'm just trying to make up, because I want to always try to make sure I do good stuff, and that's why I'm on here this morning, redoing the failed live stream last night to provide this information to who I hope it helps someone. I cannot encourage you enough to go see Russ's video he made the other day, 51 drones, on the band and the people behind it. And like I say, stay tuned to Pilot Institute and keep up what's coming out, because Greg and those guys are doing great work. They have a lot more people on the inside, at least have their ears to the ground of what is coming out that we need to pay attention to more than anything else. So this is Dre, Recoveryonedrone. Stay blessed. I'll see you guys later.